Sometimes watching Def Leppard perform to adoring crowds of the American Body Beautiful, it's easy to forget the band themselves are English, and Sheffield steel at that. During the 80s, their soaring anthemic pop rock took the world, and America in particular, by storm. 1983's Pyromania spent 92 weeks in the US charts, selling 6 million copies in that country alone. It was kept off the top spot only by Michael Jackson's Thriller. Nothing, however, would keep its follow-up off the top. 1987's Hysteria would sell 10 million copies and see the band become the first ever to sell more than 5 million copies of 2 consecutive albums in America. This success carried a heavy price, and some have said that with Def Leppard, triumph and tragedy walk hand in hand, but the band remained unbowed. Facing into the new millennium, they are as upbeat as Euphoria, their 7th studio album, would suggest. It's good to be Def Leppard, although it could have all been very different.
I was a storekeeper in a steel factory. I used to work in the basement, so I was responsible for buying everything in the factory, from grinding wheels that were the size of truck tires to Swarfiga for getting the oil off your fingers, and having the overall sent out to be cleaned, all sorts of stuff. That's what I was supposed to do, but I had other ideas, I'm afraid. I personally didn't fancy clocking in and clocking out till I was 65, and I figured that out when I was about 18. So I used to turn up at this miserable place. I mean, it was a shithole, it really was. And, you know, I worked in the basement, there was no natural light. Everything was like, you know, neon or whatever, fluorescent lighting strips. And it was pretty unreal down there. It was just a constant. There was no night, there's no day, there's nothing. There's no wind, there's no rain. You know, Sheffield, industrial, dumpy Sheffield as it was in 1978, especially in a January, February cold winter morning, is not the place to be for me, I'm sorry. And the idea of having seen what the Beach Boys had, you know, as a backdrop for their environment was much more appealing than Upperthorpe, where my factory was. You know, I mean, even the name, Upperthorpe, only in England, you know. That's, it had its plus points, because I wrote the entire lyrics of the first album down there, which was useful, you know, because I used to hide. We'd be doing gigs and stuff, and we were just playing local, like around Sheffield, and I used to go to sleep. You know, we'd not get home till 3 in the morning and have to be at work at 7. And I used to get down there and I'd not had any sleep and fall asleep in the back of the basement on all the dirty overalls and just cover myself up with, like, rags, and they could never find me. And I had a couple of guys that would cover for me because they thought it was cool that I was in a band. So I got away with murder, but after 4 years of working there, I actually got fired eventually for playing cricket in the basement with a piece of wood and one of these Bakelite knobs, it's like top of a gear stick, that they use for all the machine handles. They wear out quick, and then we would play cricket with them, and I got fired. Well, I got asked to leave, so I did, and then I got a job as a van driver for 8 months, which came in useful because I got to take the van home, and we used to use it for taking all the gear to gigs. And then I got caught in Mansfield. The managing director of the company lived in Mansfield, and we were playing a gig in a pub next to his house, and he saw the van parked outside. So that was me gone from there. But I actually left there when we got our record deal. The original attraction for me was just to get out of that whole environment, but I was first attracted to music when I was 11, when I saw T-Rex on Top of the Pops. That's what did it for me. A little thing went off in here, a little spark.